The conference room smelled like cold coffee and desperation. Maya Chen, 34, CEO of one of Chicago's fastest-growing tech startups, sat alone at the head of a 20-person table staring at her phone screen. The message from her mother was only 11 words long, but it hit her like a freight train. "We are coming this weekend. Bring someone, no excuses this time." She had exactly 4 days. Maya had built a company from nothing. She had negotiated contracts with Fortune 500 executives, fired people without flinching, and once gave a TED Talk in front of 3,000 people without a single note. But the idea of calling her traditional Taiwanese parents and telling them, again, that she was still alone made her feel like she was 8 years old and failing a math test. She walked out of her office and into the open floor plan, moving past rows of developers and designers, all of them too absorbed in their screens to notice their boss was quietly unraveling. She stopped at the small kitchen at the end of the hall, poured herself a glass of water, and said out loud to nobody in particular, "I need a boyfriend to meet my parents this weekend." She hadn't meant for anyone to hear her, but someone did. If you believe in kindness and second chances, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the Kindness channel. And tell us in the comments, where are you watching from? We love hearing from our global family. Daniel Reeves was crouched behind the kitchen counter fixing a leaking pipe under the sink. He was the building's maintenance man, quiet, reliable, the kind of man people said hello to without ever really seeing. He was 38, with calloused hands, a soft voice, and eyes that had witnessed enough grief to last 2 lifetimes. He had been a single father for 3 years, ever since his wife Claire passed away from cancer, leaving him alone to raise their 7-year-old daughter Sophie. He heard every word Maya said. He stood up slowly, wiping his hands on a cloth, and Maya nearly dropped her glass when she realized someone was there. "I'm sorry," she gasped. "I didn't see you. Pipe under the sink," he said simply, pointing down. Then, after a pause that felt longer than it was, he added, I could help, if you need someone." He stopped himself, suddenly aware of how strange that sounded. "Sorry, that came out wrong. I just meant I overheard you and I thought—" He shook his head. "Forget. I'm sorry." Maya looked at him. Not through him the way she usually looked at people when her mind was somewhere else. She actually looked at him. His name tag said Daniel. There were paint flakes on his forearm and something genuine in his expression that she hadn't seen in a very long time. Not in boardrooms, not on dating apps, not anywhere. "You're serious?" she asked. "I'm a single dad," he said. "I've learned to be serious about the things that matter. And it looked like that mattered to you." He shrugged. "I'm not trying to be weird about it. I just know what it's like to need someone and have nobody there." Something about that sentence cracked right through her. She had a team of 47 employees. She had a publicist, an assistant, a personal trainer, and a therapist she saw every other Tuesday. And yet, standing in her own kitchen, she felt the truth of his words settle over her like a blanket. "You'd really do that?" she said. "Just show up for a stranger?" "I'd want someone to do it for Sophie someday," he said. "My daughter. If she ever needed something and had nobody." He looked at the floor briefly, then back up. "Besides, I don't think you're a stranger. You're Miss Chen. You remembered Sophie's name last Christmas when I brought her by during the holiday party. You gave her a hot chocolate and asked her what she wanted to be when she grew up. She said a dragon trainer." He smiled for the first time. "You told her that was the best answer you'd ever heard. She still talks about it." Maya blinked. She remembered that. A small girl with pigtails and a gap-toothed smile, completely unimpressed by the expensive catering in the string quartet, interested only in whether there were marshmallows. "That was Sophie?" she said softly. "That was Sophie." A silence passed between them, warm and strange. "My parents are very traditional," Maya said finally. "My mother will ask you approximately 47 questions before dinner is even served. My father will say very little but watch everything. They will absolutely expect you to use chopsticks correctly." "I can use chopsticks," Daniel said. "Of course you can," she said, almost to herself, because of course he could. Of course this quiet, steady, gentle man could. They exchanged numbers. Maya told herself it was a practical arrangement, a favor between two people who happened to exist in the same building. She went home that night and typed out a full list of facts about herself for him. Her parents' names, her childhood in San Francisco, her grandmother's recipe for scallion pancakes, and he read every single word and then texted back, "Got it. Also, Sophie wants to know if your parents have a dog." Maya laughed for the first time all week. Saturday came faster than either of them expected. Daniel showed up at her apartment door in a navy blazer that fit him well, holding a small bouquet of white chrysanthemums, flowers that meant luck and longevity in Chinese tradition. Maya stopped in the doorway and stared. "I looked it up," he said, a little sheepish. She didn't have words for a moment. "You looked it up," she repeated. "I wanted to do it right," he said simply. Her parents arrived an hour later. Her mother, Linda, walked in like a force of nature in a silk blouse, eyes sharp as a hawk's, immediately cataloging every surface of the apartment. Her father, James, shook Daniel's hand and said nothing, which was exactly what Maya had predicted. For the first 20 minutes, it was awkward in the specific way that only family dinners can be awkward, everyone performing a slightly elevated version of themselves. But then Linda asked Daniel about his work, and instead of being defensive or embarrassed, he spoke about it plainly. He said he liked working with his hands. He said there was something honest about fixing what was broken. He said the world needed more people who showed up and did the quiet work. James looked up from his tea. "And your family?" Linda pressed. Daniel was quiet for one beat. "It's just me and my daughter Sophie. Her mother passed away 3 years ago." He said it without drama, without asking for sympathy. He said it the way a man says something true. The table went very still. Linda reached across and placed her hand over his. She didn't say anything either. The silence was full. After dinner, when Maya was helping her mother in the kitchen, Linda spoke low and close. "He's a good man," she said. "I can see it. The kind that doesn't disappear when things get hard." "Mom," Maya started. "I'm not pushing," her mother said, which was the most surprising thing she had ever said in Maya's entire life. "I'm just telling you what I see." She handed Maya a dish to dry. "You've spent 10 years building something impressive. Don't forget to build something that holds you, too." Maya walked back out to the living room and found her father and Daniel sitting in comfortable silence, both of them watching the city lights through the window. It was the most her father had ever accepted anyone. When her parents finally left, Daniel helped Maya carry dishes to the kitchen. They worked side by side without talking, and it wasn't awkward. It was easy in the way that rare things are easy, as if they had been doing it for years. "Thank you," Maya said, when the last dish was put away. "Really, you didn't have to do any of this." "I know," he said. "The chrysanthemums," she said. "The chopsticks, learning everything about my family. You didn't have to do any of that either." "I know that too," she looked at him. "Why did you?" He thought about it honestly, the way she was already learning he did everything. "Because you looked like someone who needed to feel like they mattered to someone, and I know what that feels like." He paused. "Sophie and we've had a lot of Saturdays where we felt invisible. I didn't want you to have one of those." Maya felt something shift in her chest. Not dramatically, not like the movies, just a quiet, significant shift, the way furniture moves when you finally put it in the right place. "Do you want to bring Sophie by tomorrow?" she asked. "I have ingredients for scallion pancakes. My grandmother's recipe. I've been meaning to make them for years, and I always talk myself out of it." Daniel smiled, and it reached all the way to his eyes. "She'll want to know if you have marshmallows." "I'll get marshmallows," Maya said. He left, and she stood at her window looking at the same city lights her father had been watching, and she thought about how strange and beautiful it was. That kindness could find you in a kitchen, that a stranger could show up with the right flowers, that a little girl who wanted to train dragons could quietly rewrite the story of your whole weekend. She picked up her phone and texted him, "My grandmother also made the best red bean soup. I'll make that too." He replied in 30 seconds, "We'll be there at noon." And just like that, a favor became a friendship. And a friendship, given enough Saturday afternoons and red bean soup and a gap-toothed girl who believed in dragons, had every chance in the world of becoming something more. Some of the best things in life start with someone simply saying, "I'm here," and meaning it completely. If this story moved you, please like, comment, and share it with someone who needs to hear it today. Subscribe to the Kindness channel and help us keep these stories alive. Kindness is never small. It always lands somewhere it was needed most.